Page. Got it. We're being live streamed. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is another Hump Day Happy Chat. I'm Valerie Shepard, coming to you live from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery. And we teach self-mastery, which is mastering you in your life so that you can exquisitely manage whatever life brings your way. And I'm thrilled to be here. I hope that wherever you are, life is going well for you. And I am excited, really excited, like over the moon excited today, because this is a special day at the Hartley Center and on the Hump Day Happy Chat. This is the first time I'm going live with a special guest. And it's not just that I'm going live with a special guest, it's that my special guest is somebody pretty phenomenal, I am very honored, very pleased, very happy to introduce you to my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Anita Sanchez. Hi, Dr. Anita.
Hello, what an honor. Glad to be here.
Thank you for being here. Let me tell people a little bit about you. This woman is an Aztec and Mexican-American. She's a transformational change agent. She is a wisdom beacon. I call her a wisdom bearer, wisdom beacon, messenger of indigenous teachings. She's also an alchemist, a spiritual transformational alchemist, bringing science and traditional practices from her heritage together to shift humanity, that's you and that's me, to more connectedness and more harmony, more heart-centeredness. She's an international award-winning bestseller of a new book, The 4 Sacred Gifts, Indigenous Wisdom for Modern Times, published by Simon & Schuster. And she's creator of a companion course that guides us to live as whole, joyful human beings. Can I get an amen? Hallelujah. Yes, indeed. Yeah, baby, give me some more joy. Give me some more wholeness. Yes, indeed. So Dr. Anita's invitation to each of us that makes up the collective, that is the all that is, each of us, to open our hearts, lean forward, and receive 4 gifts from the world's elders that are more timely than ever. Everything that's going on right now, the elders are holding us. The elders have wisdom. The elders have been here, seen it, done it, can handle it. And they're here to help us. And they come to us through wisdom bearers like Anita. And by the way, you're your own wisdom bearer too, when you can open yourself and receive the information coming to you from your heart center, your intuitive beingness, your sacred ancestral home, your heart. So we're going to talk about the pointing of this wisdom at relationships. You know, my number one relationship is the relationship you have with yourself. So Dr. Anita and I will definitely talk about that. And also my 3 C's around relationships with others. It's about connection, collaboration, and creation, whether they're family members or colleagues. We're always in this connection, this dance of what are we doing next? And then we're creating from that space. So Dr. Anita, I'm hearing some interesting, weird feedback. I'm not exactly sure what to do about that.
Let me double check. Looks like it says everything is sound on my end. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I don't know what it is either. I'm just going to dance with it. I want to say welcome to the people who are viewing us live. We appreciate you joining us. We'd love to see your comments. If you have questions, I will be checking the box. If you see me looking down and not at you, it's because I'm keeping all the things rolling. And I now would like to turn it over to Dr. Anita to give us a little a little hello, and I'd love for you to tell the peoples why you said yes to be here today, because it's a big deal for me. So I'd love for them to hear what made you say yes to my invitation.
Okay, well, yes, I am delighted to be here. Absolutely. And the reason I said yes is exactly what we're talking about. It's about relationship. And so I love you. I fell in love with you years ago when I met you. Your brilliance, your humility, your desire to serve, and many, many more adjectives, which I also see myself. So what's the wonderful thing is that when we keep working, uh, joyfully working, it's not, doesn't always have to be heavy work, some of it is, but joyfully working on becoming masters of our life, we actually mirror that to the rest of the world. And all of it is evolving together then. We can help move that. And so I'm a big yes, and so honored to be the first guest. That's wild.
Number one, baby. Number one.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. So, I'm a big word person. My audience knows that I have an undergraduate degree in communications. I'm really particular about words, and I love understanding why people choose certain words and other versus others. And so, the word sacred that's in the title of your book, it really spoke to me, especially in this conversation about relationship. And I often hear sacred related to religiosity, and in relationship, the sacred is like the relationship with the deity, a deity. And I just wonder, what is it that you were hoping or desiring to bring forth in your readers by choosing that word? Tell us.
It was very purposeful. In fact, some people advise me, don't do that, because people will immediately go to religiosity. Not that religion is a negative thing. However, I'm to sacred, according to indigenous people, pretty much many traditions all over the world, is that it's basically a descriptor of life, all life, both two-legged human beings, as well as four-legged, winged, creepy crawlers, nature, everything is sacred. And when we remember that, when we say that, when we don't allow this separation to happen, well, then it had to be on the title, because indeed I want us to remember. It's not a new thing. It's already a part of us, each and every one of us in the hoop of life. And I'm doing this circle with my hand because I always think of this. So my elders tell me there's one hoop of life. Everything is sacred. Nothing's higher, nothing's lower. It's all sacred, which means we are to be treating it in healthy relationship. And that means with ourselves and others.
And this concept of everything sacred, what I really want people to understand, I really want you to hear this deeply. And I'm talking once again, I do this, ears not necessary. Like, this is not about hearing the blah, blah, blah. This is about like feeling it at your bones level. It's like getting it in your cells. When we say everything is sacred, the center of Dr. Anita's hoop is her. Like, did you notice the hoop is emanating from her heart center? Like, you are sacred. You're sacred in your own life. The sacredness, the sanctity that you give yourself in your relationship with yourself is what spreads out into the world as you. That vibration feeds the world. And our desire is that we get practiced at having that vibration. It's going to do it anyway, right? Law of the universe, it's going out there anyway. You can't stop it. Like, you can't stop gravity.
No.
It acts. And the fact that you're on the ground, you can't see gravity, but the result of gravity is that you aren't floating in space. So the sanctity of you is getting out there when you contribute to growing that sanctity and being it, like being it.
That's absolutely it. That's absolutely it. And then often people then say, but a lot of things are happening that aren't very sacred. So yes, we are all sacred beings, but it doesn't mean we always operate in a sacred way. And that's the reason for continuing to do the inner work, so that the outer works are a reflection of it. as Indigenous people, we hear a lot of people like, well, what am I supposed to do? Getting overwhelmed with everything, and totally understandable, everything that's going on. However, it's like, oh, we got to change. So let's do something. We'll do something else, do something else. It is a time to be in action. However, we talk about two-leggeds as human beings, not human doings. And at this time, we need both. We need the human being and the doing to come out of that beingness that's grounded in our sacredness, grounded in our wisdom, grounded in our knowing that we are all connected and impact each other. And we can choose to have it be a wonderful life-giving impact, or we can choose to create more suffering. And I know what I choose, and I know what you choose.
with both hands and my two-legged.
Yes.
Both hands.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So continuing on, I hear a lot. I know that you are an Indigenous elder. I'm wearing my ancestral garb to bring in the Indigenous nature of my African heritage. That word can be loaded for some people. And so I'd love for you to even go a little bit deeper into, you have what some people would call a little bit radical idea about what Indigenous means. And hey, radical action right now in favor of love. I say, bring it on, sister, go for it.
Yes. So yes, you're absolutely right. So Indigenous, I want us to recognize our similarities and our differences. You know, we don't compete with another flower that's blooming, just bloom. We need all of it, right? So Indigenous means, anthropologically, we are all Indigenous. Indigenous means of the earth, of the elements of the planet. So we are all this: water, mineral, stardust. We're all of this. So we all, and all our ancestors came from this, and we came from this. However, today, when we talk about Indigenous, we are doing honoring and acknowledging of a people, 6% of the world's population, 2% in the US, who have kept connection over the millennia with their original instruction of our oneness, our being one hoop of life, and that we are to be in harmony with each other, starting with ourselves, because it's very hard to be in harmony with everything else, because either consciously or unconsciously, the vibration, the energy is not at that level. So that's the good news. Every day we get to call forth the wisdom from ourselves, our ancestors, the elders, each other, so that way we can create a healthy relationship with the earth, with people, with all our relatives.
Hallelujah. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And our Indigenous natures are inside of us. So once again, it's about being connected to who and what we are. So I forgot to hit one important button here, so I'm going to hit that now. Yay. Okay, so I have another question, which is just about the whole 4 sacred gifts. Love to have you tell us what the 4 sacred gifts are. And is there one that you think is really particular toward relationships, or do they all have a piece of that relationship focus?
Yes. Well, let's just start with, I invite you all to listen with the softest part of your ears and your expanding heart that Valerie has already invited us from the very start. And these 4 gifts were given to us by Spirit through 27 elders who came together in the 90s, and they prayed and sang and chanted, and they listened to Spirit. And Spirit said, they created this hoop with 100 eagle feathers, and they said, put these 4 gifts in for all humankind, because the two-legged human beings have forgotten how to be in healthy, right relationship with themselves and others. So the 4 gifts are, the first gift is the power to forgive the unforgivable. The gift of the power to forgive the unforgivable. Put that gift into the ceremonial part of your heart. Take a breath. And then the second gift they gave to us is the gift of the power of healing. The gift of the power of healing. take that gift of healing and put it in the ceremonial part of your heart. And take a breath. The third gift they put in there for all humankind to remember how to be in harmony with yourself and others is the gift of the power of unity. The gift of the power of unity. Put that in the ceremonial part of your heart. And take a breath. And the fourth gift is the gift of the power of hope in action. Put the gift of the power of hope in action into the ceremonial part of your heart and take a breath. And I think what you're noticing as you just allow this continue to move, as your heart's expanding, so is this, where the remembering and weaving throughout all of you and out toward others is that these are gifts that we already have. It's just that we may have forgotten to use them. And so the delight that I have and many others and these elders who brought this forward from Spirit is to be able to support each other in remembering how to use them and the depth that they can be used to help us be in healthy relationship with ourselves and others. So I want to conclude that with, and then invite any other questions you have, but that there is an Indigenous perspective about being in healthy alignment. And the alignment is not necessarily up and down. I still always go from a horizontal circle. And that is to be in healthy relationship with oneself is to have an alignment, the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical.
Yes, absolutely.
And we do that not only for ourselves when we work on that, but we also then are putting that out, as you said, and we can also then support others because we have great power. We were always told growing up, be careful of what you say, be careful of even what you think, because once you think it or say it, it goes out.
Out there.
Now the good, yeah, it goes out there. So the good news is if you put in something that was a little lower level, we're human and sometimes we get caught and stuck, but we can move with these four gifts. They remind us, just move back into that energy. So I would say, and so I think these elders would smile and say, start on the four gifts wherever your heart, when I shared that and put them in your ceremony part of your heart, start with whatever was in the foreground. However, you will quickly find these individual gifts are actually intimately interconnected and will help you remember how to be in harmony and balance with yourself and everyone. Yes. I will finally say that most people, Valerie, contact me either individually or businesses and stuff because they want unity. They want to create more hopefulness. And that's fine. We can start there. But I always let them know that even though you think you have this most amazing, brilliant vision, that you have all these followers, that you are able to create some, it will blow your mind in terms of how much bigger it will be if you're also about your healing and forgiveness. Because unbeknownst, consciously or unconsciously, we're blocking some of that ability to be in the fullest unity with all life. Yes. As well as in such hopeful, that energy source to catch it.
You know, the hope in action is really beautiful. Like I felt a lightness because sometimes when I work with people on forgiveness and healing, it seems to go into the dark place. And they're like, you know, like forgiveness means I have to let someone off the hook when they harmed me. And healing means I have to go to the wound and the pain. And I don't want to do that. Can I just, you know, make happy? And, you know, I teach that it doesn't have to be an arduous journey. Forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. And it's about releasing yourself from whatever's holding you back. And that energy of anger, resentment, guilt, shame, blame, punishment, victim, whatever that is. And like you said, we are integrated spiritual humans. And in the third dimension, the density of Earth, we can get into the low vibration. And there's some collective consciousness dancing in the low vibration. And so that whole idea of, so I don't necessarily go linearly from forgiveness to healing to unity to hope and action. They're a spiral. And I talk about I have my 4 steps in my book. It's funny, you have 4 sacred gifts, and I talk about the 4 steps to living happy to be me in my book. And it's, to me, it's all about a spiral up. And then Arthur Ashe has this wonderful quote that I use: start where you are, do what you can, use what you have, do what you can. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. So wherever you are is a perfect place to start. And your North Star is the sacred, the sanctity of you. I'm going there. No matter what's going on today, that's where I'm headed. And so I love the hope in action, because it's and yeah, I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be that. Okay, so I would love to, we started talking, so we've got the self. I'd love to talk about relationships, because I'm reading so much on social media and the conversations I'm having with fellow leaders, Evolutionary Business Council. I'm on the board, you've been on the board, and you're in the Wisdom Council. So when we talk to those leaders who are out all over the world, working with people all across the age spectrum, all across the life spectrum, we're hearing a lot about division. This feels really wow, we light workers are bracing themselves in this wave of separation. And I know that's an illusion, that's an appearance. We can choose to claim that, or we can choose to integrate the light that we are. So I'd love for you to talk about how you would suggest our audience in their day-to-day lives. So not everybody is out working with the masses. Some people just got to get through work today. Some people just got to get the kids off to school today. Some people just got to deal with the neighbor whose dog poops in their yard. Some people just have to deal with, I don't know how I'm going to get groceries on the table. And in the relationships that are part of those dynamics, how would you be the hope in action for these people, help them to get there in themselves?
Yes. Well, there's so many different methodologies, but I'll just tell you a couple that I use. One, I think for all of us, because a lot of these things, these conflicts in relationships that aren't going so happy, and that's of course what we want them to be, happy and joyful, is first of all, take a breath. That's just not a thing to say. No. By taking a breath, we are actually centering ourselves. We are breath. The breath is coming from our relatives, and it's coming to us. And when we breathe out, we're breathing out the carbon that many of our relatives need. So there's this reciprocity. So when we take that breath and allow it to go, a deep breath, several of them, then we can call on our heart to open and not just get lost in the mind of a reaction, but rather, how do I want to be in this present moment? And so that's one, is just breathing. Also to remember every day, I think a lot of people do this. I start with the whole process. When I open my eyes, I shut them again, and just grateful that I'm alive from head to toe. I just grateful for everything and everyone, seen and unseen.
Yes, yes.
And then I start with something good to read or whatever else. But for Indigenous people, a big thing is, and in being wisdom bearers, I know you know this, is inside of us.
Right.
And if you are at a loss, if you're going through one of those times, then, and it doesn't feel like, settle, breathe, and then you can also reach out to all this abundance. Everything is here we need. You can go to nature, sometimes just going outside, even looking at the pictures of a forest on your computer, not the same, but still helps, to just begin to realize you're part of something bigger than what is happening in this moment. And also you can go to the wisdom keepers, to elders who can share this wisdom of how do you do this? How do you handle the moment to moment when this illusion of separateness? And when I say illusion, I'm a woman of color. I get it. This illusion feels pretty darn real.
Pretty
hard. When people are shouting
Mm-hmm.
pretty negative and firing guns and all the different dismissive things that can happen to all of us.
Right. At any given moment, there's validation coming right at you.
Yes. So it's not about saying, oh, I'm going to do a spiritual bypass and ignore this. That's not it.
Yeah, we say no to that.
To be a whole, just be present to what is, And part of what is your spirituality, your sacredness. And with that wholeness, you are able to then move forward, even forgiving the unforgivable, which I have to say one thing about forgiveness, and it's what it's not. People think forgiveness means you forget. I'm not going to forget the difficult things that happened to me in life. You're not going to forget.
My life. It's part of
it doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean you don't seek justice.
I want
right.
it.
Yes.
That's wholeness. That's wholeness.
Yeah.
Like I can see my dark spaces and my dark experiences. Keep going, Dr. Anita.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that you forget. It doesn't mean that you don't seek justice. I have let go of the pain of abuse, childhood abuse, murder of my father that was race related because he was dark skinned. Many, many, many things. And people go, I can't believe you. And I haven't forgotten. And what it allows me to do is take my energy to be present for now and for what I want to create and co-create with others. And that energy we only have so much energy. Our energy is expanding, but there's only so much. I'm using it for now. That's what allows me to let go and to do my healing, to do the forgiveness. And you get to do it every day. It's like you're ever done on any of these gifts.
Right.
It's just keep using them.
We just get better at it. We get practiced at it. I get to the point where I notice the old energy coming up, right? I can feel the energy, the wave. Sometimes it's pretty heavy duty and I'll just say, stop for a minute. Maybe I'll cry. I definitely breathe, but it's about integration. It's not about bypass. It's about integration. Like that's where wholeness comes from. Wholeness doesn't come from one or the other. My life has been good or my life has been bad. No, it's not about that. It's about the integration. And the things in our lives, all of them are giving us opportunities to pull ourselves together. Like when I hear people say that, pull yourself together. Yes, that's exactly true. Let's pull ourselves together, our whole sacred, spiritual, human selves. And in this dance of what you're talking about with what's going on with the other, one of the things that you said that is powerful for these kinds of interactions where it's like, what the heck is going on here? We don't see anything alike. Maybe the person just said something really negative and harmful emotionally to you. This is where we go back to the circle. Like get practiced at, you can pull your energy out. You don't have to kick them out. Get out of my life. You can just take a step back, protect the self while you send sacred energy to the other. While you look at the other in love and harmony and compassion, while you understand that whatever's coming at you is not about you, it's about what they've gone through, what their history is, what their memories are, how they're interpreting things, and how they're seeing and experiencing you. And this doesn't absolve you from a responsibility in that relationship to understand what you're putting out there. I'm saying that in these cantankerous conversations, you can hold sacred space without having the other person do anything differently. You can just stand there in your sacred wisdom and receive without giving back in like format.
Yes, that's just it. We have the capacity to do that. And I would say that's where you do call on. I think it's very important to look at our assumptions, but most important is to look at what it is we want, get clear about what is our vision, because pain pushes till vision pulls. Ooh, and that's Michael Becker.
Say it again. Wisdom coming through.
It is. Pain pushes till vision pulls. Okay, and that doesn't mean your pain will come up at different times. And we don't need it to control it. We have to deal with it, yes, but the vision will help us pull through it. So when we have these things happen to us, horrific to individuals and whole groups of people, we can respond in the like kind of pain, force, creating more pain, force, or we can deal with that, but deal with it from what the vision we want that gives us avenues of the possibility for some shift to happen and putting more energy that's life-giving out into the world.
Giving, yes. I'm telling you, that is beautiful. Pain pushes, vision pulls. Yes. So delicious, so delicious. So this roller coaster that we've been on with COVID, I just want to very quickly touch on this before we close, because I think a lot of people are dealing with a lot of low vibration energy right now. There's trauma, upset, loss, there's loss of life, loss of livelihood, loss of even, I've talked to people who are just in the space of, I don't know what I do now. Like, I really didn't like that job. So the fact that I'm not working there anymore seems like it's an opening, but I don't know what to do with that opening. Um, I would love to know what wisdom-filled practices Native elders would suggest to expand our capacity to rest, like to rest in the unknown and not feel unsafe, like to rest in this unknown, breathe, exhale, and allow the discomfort to just be there without judging it and without running away from it. How we can be resilient in this jump.
Yes, how we be resilient while we're going to change the systems and structures at the same time. So there are many things that can be done. And what's coming through are two things. One is before you go to sleep at night, if not in your waking time, call on anyone or anything that brings you safety and wisdom, and ask them to bring that energy to you. Everyone should be in conversation, or at least feeling the ancestors, because the ancestors, we're healing some of the pain they had, but they also made it through, and we're here. We're part of the legacy.
Yes.
So whatever color your skin in, whatever gender orientation, whatever else, call on your ancestors. That's really, really helpful. And then there are 5 things all human beings need in order to thrive. And you've been naming a couple of them, so I want to name them. The first is breath, oxygen. And it's not just, I'm just breathing, but realize that it's in relationship to the plant beings and others that's happening. The second thing all human beings need is rest. Most people think it's water. It's not. It's rest. We can go longer without water than we can without rest. And people are running around thinking, I'm going to be my best, and they're not getting sleep.
Yeah.
Take naps if you're not getting a full night's, just at different times. So rest. Third thing is water. And when you drink the water, that's a ceremony in itself. We're 50 to 65% water. We're taking in the water. That's a ceremony. You're supported. Fourth thing, nutrition, real food, not junk. And I know there's food deserts, so it's really hard for some. We need to make sure everybody has real food. And then the fifth thing that we've really been talking about here the whole time is community. No one, even the strongest introvert, they have to have community. It may be only 1 or 2, but for extroverts, it may be a lot. But it's this community that supports you. And that community can be human beings. And it can also be nature, can be the sun, it can be stars. As Valerie and I are talking to you, you already know what that is. Call on all of that. You are not alone. That also is an illusion.
Yes. That's a big illusion. In the oneness, we both teach in the oneness and the sacredness of who we are and what everything is. Just that, even when we sink into just that belief, like I sink into that I am you and you are me and our ancestors are conjoined. Like when I really sink into that and allow myself to feel it, I mean, I get waves of energy, pulse waves. And I would love everyone to know that in this whole idea of oneness, realize that your own healing, your own forgiveness work, when you forgive yourself, when you forgive others, like your own healing, your own spiraling up, your own shift in your vibration heals forward and backward in time in your lineage, forward and backward in time. So you don't have to take it on as a burden, like, oh my God, I have to heal myself so I can take some pressure off my ancestors. They did so much to bring me. It's not about that. It's no more guilt, shame. It's not about that. It's about the hope and action that, wow, I know that every time I heal, it's helping. It's helping my vibration. So therefore the planet, it's helping in my lineage. And I have to say something. There are times when I've watched changes in me, and I believe I'm also experiencing them in the loved ones around me. I won't go any further than that. I will just say, and I don't take credit for it as look what I did. It's just an interesting thing where I can go, huh, isn't that beautiful? And then I can feel the, I have right here, you can't see it, but it's on a lamp, this quote from Joan Borsenko, A Woman's Journey to God. And she says, God is never closer than when the space between two hearts narrows. The divine is never closer than when we come into a closer harmony, connectedness, co-creation with those around us. And so I love the four sacred gifts. I love this conversation. And I would just love, we're going to close now, and I would just love to give you an opportunity to tell the peoples how they can get your book and how they can take a look at your course. Where can viewers get more of the spectacular and amazing wisdom bearer of Dr. Anita Sanchez?
Well, thank you. The Indigenous Elders and I thank you. And you can go to foursacredgifts.com. That's FOUR, sacredgifts.com. And there you can learn a lot more, get newsletter, a free song, learn more about the course and all those kinds of things. And I so appreciate you, Valerie, being in the world. I can feel my day is even going to be more magnificent starting it with you and all of your viewers. So let's know that this one hoop of life, everything we need is here. And the center, as Black Elk said, the center is everywhere. The edge is nowhere. So we are all in it together. Yes.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Go out and be our magnificent selves. The sacred gifts are in you. You just have to activate them, live them. And as Dr. Anita and I said, it starts with breath, breathing, breathing, breathing. So I have a request for you too. A wisdom bearer like Dr. Anita can be supported to be out there teaching and helping love on people. So if you have a connection that you think would be a brilliant connection for Dr. Anita to be speaking or teaching in a group that you are, or to come over here and talk to a corporation that you know, or maybe you deal with the school board, or wherever there's an opportunity for there to be more love, light, harmony, peace, joy, and the wisdom of the elders. Remember Dr. Anita Sanchez. Go to her website, reach out to her, see if you can make a connection. You don't have to make everything happen. Put her in touch with the decision makers and let her do her magic. So that's my request to you. So thank you very much for being here. This is the Hump Day Happy Chat. I'm Valerie Renee Shepard. I'm so grateful that you were here with us. I do these every Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. I usually do them in my private group. So you have to come and be a part of the Bliss Collective. So that's facebook.com/groups/the Bliss Collective. And the next Hump Day Happy Chat will be in there. And I always close the Hump Day Happy Chat with the metta prayer, the Karanaya Metta Sutra from the Buddha. So say it with me in your hearts. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. That is peace, love, joy, and freedom. That is oneness. That is the divine. That is image and likeness. Your true nature is more than human. May all beings awaken to the sanctity, the sacred gifts that are a part of their true nature. And may all beings be free. Many blessings. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Anita, I love you dearly. And I look forward to seeing you here soon in the same county. Many blessings. Bye now.